It was November 3, 2021. Rain hadn't stopped in 2 days. The kind of cold that seeps through concrete and settles in your bones. I'd just moved into a basement flat on the edge of Brighton, cheap, small, and quiet. Too quiet. The ad said garden-level studio, but the windows barely reached street height. When people walked past, I only saw legs. Boots, heels, shadows. I told myself it was temporary, just 6 months until I found a better job and something above ground. The landlord, Mr. Harrow, was polite in that detached British way. He handed me the keys with both hands and said, "Try not to go into the locked room downstairs. It's storage." Then smiled, too wide, like he'd practiced it. The flat smelled faintly of damp and old paint. There was a constant dripping sound from somewhere inside the walls. Still, after everything that happened in London, I needed quiet. I needed invisible. The first few nights were uneventful. I worked late, came home, ate instant noodles, scrolled through job listings until sleep took over. But every morning, I'd find the light in the hallway turned on. Even though I was sure I'd switched it off. By the fourth night, I noticed something else. The door to the locked room downstairs. A heavy wooden door with a rusted handle. Was always slightly open when I left for work. Just enough to see the black gap inside. I texted the landlord about it. He replied quickly. "Must be the wind. Basement doors swell in the rain." Except, there was no window near it. And no wind in the basement. That night, I recorded the sound of the flat while I slept, just to prove to myself that nothing was happening. In the morning, when I played it back, it was silent for hours, then a faint creak at 3:17 a.m. And a voice, low and almost kind, whispering my name. "Evan." I threw my phone across the room. Told myself it was sleep talking. Audio glitch, anything but real. Still, I started sleeping with the lights on after that. 2 days later, the landlord came to check the pipes. I offered him tea. He didn't blink for 5 whole seconds before saying, "Do you ever hear noises?" I lied. "No." He smiled, relieved. "Good. You shouldn't." That night, the dripping sound stopped. But something else began. A rhythmic scratching under the floorboards. Like someone tracing circles with a nail. It would pause whenever I moved, then start again. I pushed my ear to the ground once. The wood was cold, humming. I thought I heard breathing, slow, shallow, like someone conserving air. The next morning, I called my friend Mia. Told her everything. She laughed, said, "You always pick cursed places. It's your thing." I laughed too. But my voice shook. That evening, I came home to find muddy footprints leading from the locked room to my bed. Bare feet. Small. Wet. I froze. Every instinct screamed leave. But I just stood there, heart pounding. Watching the water slowly dry on the tiles. I called the landlord again. No answer. Then a text, "Don't worry. It only moves when it's lonely." I dropped the phone. The light flickered. And from downstairs, I heard a door creak open. Followed by that same whisper, closer this time. "Evan." I ran to the door, but it slammed shut from the inside. The whole flat went dark except the faint glow under the basement door. Something moved in that light. A shadow too thin, too slow to be human. When the police arrived an hour later, they found the door locked. No signs of entry. They said I must have dreamt it. But on the floor near my bed was a small muddy footprint, still wet. I didn't sleep that night. Every sound felt alive, the pipes, the floorboards, even my own breath. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the basement door. It pulsed, like something breathing behind it. At dawn, I packed my things. But when I turned toward the exit, the key wouldn't fit the lock. No matter how hard I tried, it kept turning endlessly, like the door wasn't real anymore. I called the landlord again. Straight to voicemail. Then, as I lowered the phone, I heard the old rotary phone in the kitchen ring. But I didn't own one. I picked it up slowly. A child's voice whispered, "Don't let him find me." Then static. The smell of damp grew stronger. Water was seeping from under the basement door, black and oily. It carried the faint reflection of a moving shape beneath it. I backed away, grabbed my bag, but the lights went out. In the pitch black, I heard footsteps. Small and deliberate, crossing the wet floor toward me. I ran to the door again. This time, it opened. But outside wasn't Brighton anymore. It was the same hallway, repeating endlessly, flickering with different lights. I ran through 5, 6 identical corridors. Each one colder, darker. At the end of the last, a door marked storage. The same door from my flat. When I opened it, I was back inside my apartment. Only, it looked older. Mold covered the walls, furniture rotten. And in the corner, a chair facing the wall. Someone was sitting in it. Thin, shaking hands gripping the armrest. I whispered, "Hello." The head turned. And I saw myself. The other me looked pale, eyes hollow. He whispered, "You shouldn't have answered the phone." Then, everything went dark. Someone was sitting in it. Thin, shaking hands gripping the armrest. I whispered, "Hello." The head turned. And I saw myself. The other me looked pale, eyes hollow. He whispered, "You shouldn't have answered the phone." Then, everything went dark. When I woke, I was back on the floor. The air was heavy. The basement door was open now, wide open. And stairs led down where there hadn't been any before. Something was dripping down those stairs. Not water. Thick, dark, slow. A smell like rust and soil. I followed, step by step. Each creak louder than the last. The walls down there were lined with torn wallpaper. Old photos of families, mine among them. At the bottom stood the landlord, Mr. Harrow. His face was gray, eyes hollow, smile wider than ever. "You're finally home," he said. I tried to run, but my legs sank into the wet ground. Hands reached from the floor, pulling me in. Their skin was cold and soft, like damp paper. I screamed, but the sound didn't escape. Only silence. Then a voice, the child's again. "You let him in." The last thing I saw was the door closing above me. Light fading to black. And in that darkness, a whisper. "Next tenant arrives tomorrow."